He couldn't afford his daughter's birthday cake, but what he didn't know was that Ozzy Osbourne himself was standing right behind him. Before the story starts, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Voices of Darkness, for more emotional and life-changing real-life stories. And don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. Asterisk, asterisk, the little bell above the bakery door jingled weakly, as if it too was tired of life. Daniel Carter walked in with his shoulders bent under the weight of problems the world never cared about. He was 38, but life had carved deep lines on his face, the kind that only appear when a man works hard and suffers harder. His jacket was worn enough to tell a story on its own. The stitching at the elbows had given up long ago, and the zipper had been replaced twice. His hair was messy, not because he didn't care about his appearance, but because he didn't have time. Every minute went into jobs that paid barely enough for tomorrow's dinner. Today was his daughter's birthday. Lily Carter, 8 years old, the brightest star in the dim sky of his life. Daniel had left home early that morning, promising her that he would come back with a real birthday cake, not a small cupcake like last year, not a half-price stale one like the year before, but a real cake. He didn't tell her how his paycheck had been delayed. He didn't tell her he had only $12 in his wallet. He didn't tell her that the electricity company had sent him a final warning the night before. Children shouldn't carry grown men's storms. He walked to the counter and smiled at the elderly lady who owned the bakery. The smell of freshly baked bread filled the air, warm and comforting. A soft jazz tune was playing in the background. "Hello, Daniel," she said with a gentle smile. She knew him. Everyone in the small town knew him. A good man, a hard-working man, but a man life didn't treat kindly. "What can I get for you?" Daniel swallowed. "A cake," he whispered. "For my daughter, something small, but nice." She turned toward the display. "How small?" she asked kindly. He hesitated. "Around anything under $10. The woman's smile faded for a moment, just for a second, before she forced it back. "Let me see what we have." Behind him, a soft rustle of a heavy coat moved. Daniel didn't notice. He was too focused on the display case, too busy calculating in his mind whether he would still have enough money for candles. But the stranger behind him noticed everything. Black coat, long messy hair, round glasses, a presence impossible to ignore unless one was drowning in worry and had no energy left to see the world clearly. It was Ozzy Osbourne, but Daniel had no idea. Asterisk, the cake. He couldn't buy asterisk. The old woman brought out a cake. Small, round, white frosting, a pink icing flower on top. It was simple, but beautiful. A cake made with care. "This one is $18, she said softly. Daniel's heart sank. He looked at the cake, then at his wallet, then at the floor. I only have 12, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Is there anything cheaper?" Behind him, Ozzy watched, his eyebrows pushed together behind his round glasses. He wasn't just observing, he was feeling the moment like a wound reopening. The bakery owner gave a sympathetic look. "Let me check in the back. Maybe I can find something." That her voice faded as she walked away. Ozzy took a step forward, hands in his pockets, watching the man's trembling fingers on his wallet. Daniel whispered under his breath, come on, please," as if asking life itself for a break. Ozzy felt something twist in his chest. He had seen millions of people in his life, crowds bigger than towns, fans crying his name, thousands chanting through storms and fireworks. But none of those faces had the same silent heartbreak he saw on this one man's face. He stepped closer silently. Daniel looked at the cake again. It might as well have been a mountain. A voice from behind. When the bakery lady returned, she carried a much smaller cake, half the size, and it was slightly smudged on one side. "This is from yesterday," she whispered. $5. Daniel's eyes softened, not with joy, but with surrender. He opened his wallet again, pulling out his last few dollars behind him. Ozzy took one slow breath. He had seen enough. "You know." Ozzy's voice finally spoke, low, deep, iconic. Daniel froze. That voice, somewhere between gravel and electricity. He had heard it before, on radios, in old rock documentaries, in stadium echoes. He turned around, and his heart nearly stopped. Ozzy Osbourne stood there, wearing a long black coat, his hair slightly messy, his glasses reflecting the warm lights of the bakery. He looked like a shadow carved into the world, a legend wearing the weight of 1,000 memories. "Sir, are you?" Daniel stuttered. "Ozzy," he said simply, with a soft nod. Daniel stood speechless. His brain couldn't even process a greeting. Ozzy looked at the tiny smudged cake in the baker's hands. "For your daughter?" Ozzy asked gently. Daniel swallowed hard. "Why, yes, it's her birthday today." Ozzy looked at him for a long moment. Then he looked at the cake again, then back at Daniel. A small, sad smile grew on his face. "Let me get her something better," Ozzy said softly. Daniel's eyes widened. No, sir, I can't. I can't let you." Ozzy held up a hand. "Mate," he said with a soft chuckle, "it's just a cake, and she deserves a proper one." There was a kindness in his voice Daniel didn't expect. A father's kindness, a man who had lived through storms bigger than the world understood what birthdays meant to a child. "But Daniel started. "No arguments," Ozzy said, turning to the baker. "Give him the best cake you've got." The baker, who couldn't believe it, the bakery owner, nearly dropped the tray. "Oh, Ozzy Osbourne," she whispered, double quotes. "Yes, love," Ozzy replied casually. Oh goodness," she breathed, almost losing her balance. Ozzy laughed softly. "Easy now, just need a cake." She regained herself and moved quickly, almost too quickly, grabbing a beautifully decorated chocolate cake with golden frosting highlights. This one is $60. It's our best one." Ozzy nodded. "Perfect." She rang it up with shaking hands. Ozzy didn't ask the price, didn't blink, didn't hesitate. He simply slid his card across the counter. Daniel stood there feeling both grateful and guilty, but mostly overwhelmed. "Sir, thank you," he whispered. "I don't know how to repay." Ozzy cut him off. "You don't repay kindness," he said. "You pass it on." Daniel's eyes stung. No one had talked to him like that in years. Why Ozzy really cared. Ozzy lifted the cake box gently and handed it to Daniel. "For Lily," he said warmly. Daniel blinked in shock. How do you know her name?" Ozzy smiled a little. "I overheard you on the phone outside. You sounded tired, mate. Tired, but trying your hardest." Daniel lowered his head. His voice cracked. I'm doing my best. She deserves more than I can give." Ozzy placed a hand on his shoulder, firm and warm. "I had my rough years too," Ozzy said quietly. "Made mistakes, lost things, broke myself sometimes, but no matter how bad it got, I always loved my kids." Daniel looked up. "You're a good father," Ozzy added. "I can tell." Those words shattered whatever remained of Daniel's emotional defenses. He wiped his eyes quickly. "Thank you. Really?" Ozzy nodded. "Go home. Make her birthday special." Daniel nodded. "I will." He turned to leave, but Ozzy wasn't finished. "The guitar string memory, before you go," Ozzy said suddenly. Daniel turned back. Ozzy took a deep breath. "You know," he said, his eyes distant, "when my daughter was little, there was a birthday I missed because of a tour. A long story, but it's still one of my biggest regrets." Daniel didn't know what to say. Ozzy continued, his voice softer. "I wish I could go back and be there, but I can't. Life doesn't rewind." Then he looked at Daniel again. "But you can be there for yours." Daniel felt something shift inside him, something heavy but freeing. "I promise," Daniel whispered. "I won't miss another one." Ozzy smiled. "Good man." The walk home. Daniel walked out of the bakery holding the most beautiful cake his daughter would ever receive. The streets felt warmer. The air felt lighter. Every step felt unreal, as if he were walking through a dream. People passed him unaware that the simple white box in his hands carried more than frosting. It carried hope, dignity, kindness. He reached his small rented home at the edge of the neighborhood. The porch light flickered like it was fighting for its own survival. "Daddy!" Lily ran out as soon as she saw him. Her tiny feet thudded across the wooden floor, her hair tied in a messy ponytail bouncing behind her. Is that my cake?" she gasped, eyes wide as moonlight. Daniel knelt and opened the box just a little. Lily's eyes sparkled like the stars themselves. "It's beautiful." She squealed. Daniel smiled. "Someone very special wanted you to have it. Was it you?" she asked innocently. Daniel hesitated. Then he whispered, "No, baby, it was Ozzy Osbourne." Her eyes went even wider. "The man from your old music CDs, the rock guy." Daniel nodded, laughing through tears. "Yes, that Ozzy." Lily screamed with joy, as if she'd just met a superhero. Daniel hugged her tightly. Tonight wasn't just a birthday, it was a miracle. A father's tears and a daughter's laughter. The cake was cut with laughter so loud it covered every scar life had given. Lily danced around the living room. Daniel sat watching her, tears rolling down his face, but for the first time in years, they weren't tears of pain, they were tears of gratitude. He whispered under his breath, "Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you." Ozzy's quiet moment back in the bakery parking lot. Ozzy sat in his car for a moment. He stared through the windshield, remembering that birthday he missed long ago. He whispered, almost to himself, "At least I made one little girl smile today." He closed his eyes and breathed deeply. Kindness had a way of healing the giver too. Asterisk. The miracle the world never saw. Asterisk. The world would never know what Ozzy Osbourne did that day. No news, no photographs, no interviews. Just one father's heart stitched back together by a stranger. A legend, a man who understood pain, a man who chose to heal another instead of walking away. Midnight at the Carter HOSI. The candle flames from Lily's cake had barely stopped flickering when Daniel tucked her into bed. She fell asleep clutching the tiny paper crown she made for herself. The kind only children know how to make. Magical. Daniel sat quietly at the edge of her bed, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. His chest still felt warm with the miracle he had lived just hours ago. He whispered, "Happy birthday, my little star." He walked into the living room, sat on the old couch, and finally allowed himself to breathe. A long, deep breath, one that carried exhaustion, relief, gratitude, and the tiniest bit of disbelief. Then, knock, knock, knock. Daniel's head snapped up. It was past midnight. No one visited at this hour. He hesitated, heart pounding. The knocks came again. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Daniel walked to the door and opened it. Halfway. His breath froze. Under the dim flickering porch light stood a man in a long black coat, hair falling over his shoulders, round glasses reflecting the yellow bulb. Ozzy Osbourne, again. "Evening, mate," Ozzy said calmly. "Hope I'm not waking anyone." Daniel blinked rapidly. "Oh, Ozzy, what are you doing here? Did something happen?" Ozzy stepped closer, his expression warm but serious. "Mind if I come in? I've got something to talk to you about." Ozzy's unfinished story. Daniel quickly opened the door wider. "Of course, sir, please, come in." Ozzy entered slowly, looking around the small, humble living room. He didn't judge. He didn't pity. He simply observed everything with the gentle quiet of a man who understands life at every level. Daniel cleared a spot on the couch, tossing a blanket aside. "Sorry for the mess." Ozzy chuckled softly. "Mate, you should have seen my houses in the 80s. This is paradise compared to that." Daniel laughed nervously. Ozzy sat down, lacing his fingers together, elbows on his knees. "I've been thinking," Ozzy began, "about earlier, about you, about your girl." Daniel swallowed. "It meant everything to us." "I know," Ozzy said softly, "and I need you to know something." He leaned back, his eyes drifting toward the old photo frames on the wall. "When I helped you today, it wasn't because I felt sorry for you. It was because you reminded me of myself, of the father I tried to be, but sometimes wasn't." Daniel listened silently. "Back then," Ozzy continued, voice deepening, "I was busy, stupidly busy. Shows, tours, mistakes, more mistakes. I missed moments I'll never get back." He paused, exhaling a long breath, the kind that holds regret. "When I saw you in that bakery, trying your hardest, I saw the father I wish I had been." Daniel lowered his head. Shaken. Ozzy's hand gently touched his shoulder, the same way a father consoles a son. "But there's more," Ozzy said. Daniel lifted his eyes. "I didn't tell you earlier, but I followed you home." Daniel blinked in surprise. "You what?" Ozzy chuckled softly. "Not in a creepy way. I just wanted to make sure you got home safe with that cake." Daniel covered his mouth with his hand. "And when I saw your girl running into your arms, when I heard her laughter through the window," Ozzy's voice cracked. "Just a little. It reminded me of something I thought I had lost." The box Ozzy carried. Daniel noticed a small black box on the table near Ozzy's coat. "What's that?" he asked softly. Ozzy looked at it, almost with fear. "This," he said, picking it up, "is something I haven't opened in 20 years. Daniel felt chills run up his spine. Ozzy slowly unlocked it. Inside was an old guitar pick, worn, scratched, faded, but next to it was a tiny bracelet, pink, plastic beads, spelling out a child's name, Amy. Ozzy's hands trembled slightly. "My daughter made this for me when she was Lily's age," Ozzy whispered. "I wasn't there when she gave it to me. She left it in my dressing room. I found it hours later." He wiped his eye quickly. "I never told anyone this, not a single soul." Daniel felt the weight of the moment press into the silence. Ozzy continued, I kept it all these years as a reminder of what I missed, a reminder of the father I wasn't always, but desperately wanted to be. He closed the box gently. And tonight, when I saw Lily, and you, I realized something. Daniel waited. I realized it's not too late for either of us. The offer Daniel never expected. Ozzy leaned forward suddenly, determination burning behind his glasses. Daniel, he said, I want to help you. Daniel shook his head quickly. No sir, you've already done more than. Ozzy raised his hand. Let me finish. Daniel stopped. Ozzy inhaled deeply. I've spent a lifetime collecting things, cars, guitars, houses, memories, good and bad. He paused. And I've decided, I want to start giving some of it away, to people who deserve it, to people who actually need it. Daniel's throat tightened. I want to help you get back on your feet, Ozzy said firmly. A real job, a stable life, a chance to give your daughter everything you never had. Daniel froze. If you'll let me, Ozzy added softly, I'd like to hire you. Daniel's jaw dropped. Hire me? For what? Ozzy smiled gently. I need a personal assistant. Someone real, someone humble, someone who knows life, someone who isn't fake or greedy. Daniel's heart pounded so hard he could hear it. I don't care about your resume, Ozzy said. I care about your soul. And yours is good. A tear ran down Daniel's cheek. I can't accept this, he whispered. You can, Ozzy said. And you will, for Lily. That broke Daniel. He sobbed, not quietly, not politely, but the way a man cries when every heavy stone in his chest is lifted at once. Ozzy didn't move. He let the man cry, because he understood the surprise Ozzy had for Lily when Daniel calmed down. Wiping his eyes, Ozzy stood up. One more thing, he said. Where's Lily's room? Daniel blinked. She's sleeping, sir. Ozzy grinned. That's all right. I won't wake her. He walked to her bedroom door and peeked inside. Lily slept peacefully, hugging her teddy bear. Ozzy whispered softly at the doorway. You keep smiling, little one. The world's better with kids like you in it. Ozzy quietly placed something on her bedside table. A small velvet pouch. Daniel stepped closer and looked inside. It was a custom silver necklace, shaped like a tiny guitar, engraved with, For Lily Keep Shining Tilda. Ozzy. Daniel covered his mouth, overwhelmed. Dawn of a new life. Ozzy put on his coat. Be ready at 9 a.m., Ozzy said with a smile. We start tomorrow. Daniel nodded rapidly. Why, yes, sir. Thank you so much. Ozzy leaned close. And remember this, miracles don't end, they begin. He tapped Daniel gently on the chest. In here, Daniel smiled through tears. Ozzy stepped out onto the porch. The night air was cold. The sky was quiet. But Daniel's world felt brighter than the sun. Good night, mate, Ozzy said. Good night. Sir. Ozzy walked away into the darkness, a legend disappearing into the night, leaving behind a miracle no one would ever believe, except the man who lived it. Asterisk. The first morning of a new life. The morning sunlight crept into Daniel's small home like a blessing. For the first time in years, he woke up with something he had forgotten, the feeling of hope. Not the fragile, flickering kind, but a warm, steady flame. Lily was already awake, sitting on the couch with a little velvet pouch Ozzy left last night. Daddy, look, she said, holding up the silver guitar necklace as it shimmered in the sunlight. Ozzy left this for me. It has my name on it. Daniel smiled. Yes, Princess, he did. It's real silver, she whispered excitedly. Do you think I can show it to my friends? You absolutely can. And Daddy, yes, baby, I'm gonna keep it forever. Daniel's heart tightened. You do that. But before the moment could stretch further, there was a loud horn outside. A deep, rich, unmistakably expensive car horn. Daniel and Lily turned toward the window. Oh my gosh, Daniel breathed. Outside the house was a black luxury SUV, shining like a mirror, tinted windows, chrome rims, and leaning against it wearing a coat, holding a coffee cup, round glasses reflecting the sun. Ozzy Osbourne, ready for work, mate. Daniel stepped outside, still adjusting the collar of his only clean shirt. Good morning, Ozzy said with a grin. Hope you're ready. Busy day. Daniel nodded quickly. Yes, sir, I'm ready. I can't believe all this. Ozzy playfully elbowed him. Believe it. The world's strange. Get used to it. Lily peeked behind the screen door. Ozzy smiled brightly. Morning, Princess Lily blushed and waved shyly. You like your necklace? Ozzy asked. She nodded vigorously. It's my favorite thing. Ozzy winked. Good. I made sure it would last forever. The mysterious envelope. As Daniel climbed into the SUV, Ozzy handed him a sealed envelope. Open it, Ozzy said. Daniel tore it open carefully. Inside was a letter. He unfolded it. His eyes widened. His hands shook. He read silently. This is to confirm that Daniel Carter has been hired as a full-time personal assistant, with a starting salary of $70,000 per year, plus housing, plus transportation, plus medical benefits for him and his daughter. Daniel dropped to silence, barely breathing. He whispered, I can't. This is... Ozzy sipped his coffee casually. You can, he said calmly. And again, you're doing it for Lily, not for me. But housing? Daniel asked. What does that even mean? Ozzy leaned closer, lowering his voice like he was sharing a secret. That means, you're moving. Today. Daniel stared at him in shock. The house Daniel never dreamed. Off they drove through the city for nearly an hour, until Ozzy turned into a quiet, gated neighborhood. Beautiful trees, clean sidewalks, no broken streetlights, no noise, no danger, no struggle. Just peace. Ozzy parked the SUV in front of a two-story White House with blue shutters and a freshly painted porch. Daniel stared at it, confused. Whose house is this? He asked. Ozzy smiled slowly. Yours. Daniel's jaw dropped. No, Ozzy, I can't. This is too much. Ozzy turned his head, suddenly serious. Daniel, he said firmly, I didn't buy you a house. You didn't. No. I moved you into a house I already own. I have too many. It was empty. Now it's not. Daniel swallowed. You'll stay here, Ozzy continued, until you want something else. No rent, no stress, no fear. Lily gets her room. You get your life back. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. I don't know how to thank you. You don't, Ozzy said. You live, that's all. The room that changed Lily's destiny. Ozzy walked Daniel through the house, living room, kitchen, a backyard with a small wooden swing. But then, he opened a pink-colored door. Lily's new room, soft lights, teddy bears, a clean white bed with a rainbow blanket, a desk with art supplies, not too fancy, not too flashy, just perfect. What do you think? Ozzy asked softly. Daniel whispered. She's going to cry. Good, Ozzy said. Happy tears are important. Then Ozzy nudged Daniel's elbow. Check the desk drawer. Daniel hesitated, then opened it slowly. Inside was an envelope labeled, For Lily, open when she's older. Daniel blinked. What's this? Ozzy looked at him softly. A little something for her future. What's inside? Daniel asked. Ozzy smirked. You'll find out when she does. But Daniel noticed something. The envelope was thick, very thick. He closed the drawer gently, tears in his eyes. A job like no. Later that day, Daniel and Ozzy sat down at the kitchen table. All right, Ozzy said, clapping once. Let's talk work. Daniel nodded. Anything you need, sir. Ozzy leaned back. First rule, don't call me sir. Makes me feel like an old man. Daniel chuckled. All right, Ozzy. Second rule, Ozzy continued. Your job is simple. Keep me grounded. Remind me of the world outside fame. The real world. The world you've lived in. Daniel blinked. That's it. Plus schedule stuff. Keep track of nonsense. Help me with charity work. You know, normal things. Daniel nodded, but Ozzy wasn't finished. Third rule, he said with a smirk. You must never ever let me forget. Lily's birthday. Daniel laughed so hard he nearly fell from the chair. Ozzy joined him. The laughter was real, healing, human. The dinner that healed two men that evening. Daniel invited Ozzy to stay for dinner. They ate simple food, nothing fancy, but the warmth in the room was something money couldn't buy. Lily talked non-stop about her necklace. Ozzy listened to every word, smiling like a gentle grandfather figure. When Lily asked, Mr. Ozzy, why did you help us? Ozzy paused, then he answered softly, because kindness keeps music alive, sweetheart. She nodded, not fully understanding but feeling the truth in his voice. The secret Ozzy left behind when Ozzy left that night. He hugged Daniel and Lily both. Good night. You too, he said warmly. They waved as he stepped into the SUV. But the story didn't end there, because when Daniel went inside and closed the door, he saw a small slip of paper sticking slightly out of Lily's desk drawer. He pulled it out. It wasn't from the future envelope. Thought it was something else. He unfolded it. Carefully, it was handwritten, in Ozzy's messy but heartfelt handwriting. "Daniel, if you ever doubt yourself again, remember this: I didn't save your life. You saved mine, too. Tilda." Ozzy Daniel pressed the note to his chest and cried, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming, unmistakable realization that sometimes the universe brings the right people together at the right time, and kindness can change destinies. This is the final part of the trilogy. The emotional journey ends here, but the message stays forever. Kindness is louder than fame, hope is stronger than struggle, and love, especially a father's love, never dies. If this final part touched your heart, subscribe to our channel, Voices of Darkness. Like this video, share it with your friends, and if you truly love Ozzy Osbourne, share this final story everywhere, and let's hit our 1,000 subscribers target. Now prove your love.